What is up, YouTube? Take 2 on watching this video. The first time, well, they pretty much recommended that I stop watching it and go watch the original video and then come back and watch this one. So that's what we did. You should see them properly in order on my channel as well. Okay, now let's find out exactly how it exploded in slow motion.
All right, are you sure you're ready? Let's do it. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, and fair warning, if you don't want to hear ringing in your ear, just mute for 5 seconds. Alright, the following video contains shocking and graphic footage. It's being shown for medical and educational purposes. Viewer discretion heavily advised.
If you didn't read that warning, again, let me reiterate, do not watch this video if you are faint of heart. This video does contain some shocking footage. It's potentially triggering to PTSD victims. This is for medical, educational purposes only. We would never glorify this for any reason. This is a pretty unfortunate accident.
That some people
we are
would
ready to
glorify
go
it.
over the footage together and see what we can learn from it, talk about safety, talk about our plans for the future. And there is a chance that some of this is still going to be censored. We're not sure at the time of recording how much will be censored, but we want to keep our channel. And if we put up too much graphic content, there's a chance the entire channel gets demonetized. And because of that, if you do see some censored content, that's why the entire unedited, uncensored footage will be available on Patreon if that's the case. That's pretty much the only way we can do this while still keeping our channel. So
Can you imagine all the times that they went over this footage while their friend and coworker was in the hospital? I can only imagine, like, trying to find anything, trying to see. That is such a thing, like, to go through such an accident and everything. And again, I find it very, very sad over the fact that you have to censor and take out content that is educational because YouTube just goes, you can't show too much. It's like, isn't that the purpose, to be able to properly see things? Thankfully, we still have Patreon. God bless Patreon for that. Every time you have a sensitive topic, it's like, just upload it to Patreon.
So our link to Patreon will be in the description below. You can go watch it there. But again, do not watch it if you can't handle this, because it is very shocking. He's okay with showing the footage that's here. He wants to watch it. He wants to show you guys so we can learn from it. So Adam is back and thankfully recovering.
I have returned indeed.
He has. You said 1 like and I'll come back, and here you are.
Yes. I did get at least
1.4K
one.
likes
It might have been,
later.
I'm not sure.
How would you say you're doing now?
A lot better. Still takes a lot of wound care. I don't think I'm out of the woods on that yet. Probably still got a solid few months on that. The nerve stuff, never know. We'll get into that later. But
yeah. People have seen the footage, but it's been blurred.
Right.
We've done some updates on the hospital and everything, but before we watch it, if you don't know what's going on right now, stop watching this. Our last video,
Yeah, this
has
is where
all of
we
the
left
context.
off last time.
We were firing different launchers. We had a Carl Gustav M2 launcher and the RPG-7.
Yep.
And we had a catastrophic failure during launching basically the final shot of the day.
Of course.
So yeah, if you don't know what's going on, please
I like the of course there. Humor. You gotta have it, huh?
go watch our last episode and then return if you feel like you can handle watching what happened.
We were studying the effects of the backblast from RPGs because they are extremely dangerous.
As we saw with the ballistic hand.
Yeah, and then as we were doing it to a head, I remember counting down to 1, and then next thing I knew, I was on the ground and my arms were entirely black. These aren't sleeves, these are all bandages. They used to be all the way up, but this one's healing pretty good. The rocket launcher basically exploded.
I've unfortunately seen this footage several times. I had to save all the footage and, you know, edit it and prepare all these clips for you, but you've seen nothing other than your memories of like the aftermath.
And then the same censored one that is in the previous episode. Yep.
Correct.
I also, for you
Thank you,
guys,
Jumper.
I haven't seen any of my gear. I've seen the launcher because we got it demilled and sent to us, and I've put it back in the configuration
What does demilled mean?
that it was found on the ground. So when we get to the launcher, that's exactly how it was.
All right, so I already know what to expect with this, and it's already making my heart kind of go. So I'm mostly
Demilitarized. Okay, that makes more sense.
curious
They
how
can't
this is
fire
going to go for
anymore.
you. You've been deployed, you've seen stuff before, but it's going to be different when it's you and you're watching.
Hi, Soda.
And when we were in Texas, I talked to Scott from Kentucky Ballistic, who went through something very similar, and he kind of warned me of that too.
Damn.
All right, so I guess we'll see. What's this going to be first? Like, is this slow-mo?
He had a conversation with Kentucky before this. Damn, man. Can you imagine, like, you actually get people counseling you and going like, okay, so prepare for things. I wonder how much of that preparation actually helps you for that moment when you actually look at what happened in the first place, though.
Is this normal speed?
This is the normal footage from the red camera, which is our main normal angle. And you'll hear your countdown as you remember, and it'll happen. And then from there, you know, we can talk about this shot however much you want, however many times you want to see it, and then we can move on to high speed. And yeah, so
All right.
we'll just see what we can do as far as what we can learn from this. This is the 3, 2, 1 word.
Okay. All right.
Are you sure you're ready?
Let's do it.
Final warning, graphic footage. Be mindful, viewer.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Jesus Christ, man. This time they didn't really blur it.
Shit. Call
And
911.
here comes all the
Oh,
swear
fuck.
words and the response.
Oh shit, what do we do?
What's bleeding?
It's his face.
Call 911.
I'll call it.
I don't know if you can see there, but like my body was already like tremoring and
Holy shit. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can already
Damn.
see. I've got skin grafts right there.
yeah. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, that rocked my shit.
You want me to pull it back?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get into some of this in the high speed, but I mean, you're inside an explosion for an instant, and it throws you.
There isn't a second of that I could see on that first one where there was no attempt to catch myself. I'm instantaneously out. Like,
You're done. Like you are immediately unconscious.
Yeah, he got knocked out like so fast and so hard. Like that blast in itself, right? You could see it even before when it was kind of blurred. It was just like BAM! And then kind of like limp ragdoll. I don't know which term is better. Kind of go with
As far as I can tell.
that was
permanent wife Peter Tan. Oh my god, you guys. Reading your comments is like, this is what a face palm. Oh.
All right. You can see it again?
That's
Yeah. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
doesn't make it any better.
3, 2, 1.
Damn. Yeah, he literally got knocked out cold. Is like almost cartoon level, right? Like bam, one in the head and passed out.
Dude, I can't even
Yeah,
see my
his
helmet
arm
being
is
framed.
like
I know.
oof.
Shit.
Call 911.
Oh fuck. Oh shit, what do we do?
What's bleeding?
his
Another
face.
thing I want to point out while I'm thinking about it. So when people experience trauma, in terms like blunt force trauma, it's not uncommon for your body to seize up in whatever position it was in. Something that happened to you, you can see it right here, like your right hand that was grasping that front handle there, clamped up in that way. So when you're laying there, keep in mind this camera was way off further left than we were. So it
Okay.
can see your fingers there, we couldn't. So one of the things what
Damn.
we saw was your burnt arm and then nothing.
Oh.
So there was all sorts of things of like, did this happen? Did that happen?
Damn.
Kind of thing.
3, 2.
They were wondering if it's the same as the dummy with the hand, whether his hand was gone. Jesus Christ.
1. Shit.
That's when you start gaining consciousness.
fuck.
Again. So I would say
Oh, shit,
probably
what do we
10,
do?
15 seconds you were
what's bleeding?
unconscious.
It's his face.
Do you have recollection of that at all? Of like,
No, not yet.
Okay.
Nope.
Because the first thing I saw when like my eyes met your face was your jaw definitely got like shoved somewhere it's not supposed to be. The lower part of this part of your jaw had like moved out and it was pushing your skin out some, and the bottom part of your jaw, what's that bone there? Is that the mandible?
I think so.
Okay, the whole bottom part of your face was a bit sideways. And
Damn. That first reaction that they also had is kind of like, which part is wrong, right?
and seeing all the burns
Oof.
and thinking for a second maybe you lost your hand, and the smoke and just like the shock setting in, it was like, what actually happened here?
I mean, the launcher looks like it left too.
Oh, it went up. It went up
that's
in the
not
air.
where I was. Yeah.
Damn,
it-
look at his goggles as well. Like, now that you actually focus on that. Like, if you go backwards, even at slow-mo, right? Look at all the things. His helmet, his protection goggles, the launcher itself, everything going up, up, up.
It launched.
What was that?
You know when I said this looks like a rocket launching? You know, like ship going up? This isn't what I meant! God damn it.
We're calling 911.
For what?
We're calling 911.
For what?
You're bleeding.
From where?
You're bleeding from inside
He's
your
doing
head.
the right thing there, holding me down.
Yep. Do you have memory of this?
I don't think yet.
I see, like, through that entire thing, he passed out and then immediately came back after a few seconds and already asking from where he's bleeding and what's happening. It's like, you're bleeding from what? I'm like, damn. Training is a hella thing and actually preparing you.
So you just turned off your own mic there accidentally, and then it
Okay.
comes back on later. But what's interesting here is your brain knows something's wrong, obviously.
Right.
And I think the first thing that kicks in for you with your medical training is figure out what's wrong and help. And it's weird because you're the person that needs the help.
Right.
So you're asking like what happened, and then when Todd says we're calling 911, you're asking like what for, like why. So I don't know if that's like your brain's shock and confusion, or if your brain is still trying to figure out like who do we need to help, like what's going on.
Probably
like do you
just
remember
more-
asking those questions?
No.
Okay.
Nope. What is all that smoke from?
Fire extinguisher.
Oh,
The back
okay.
blast set off a small fire behind you.
Okay.
Damn.
Did I just ask if it blew up?
Is that what you asked?
I think so.
What happened? It blew up?
But I said it all jacked up because my jaw was crooked.
I like how he's amused by his, like, wow, but blew up. Ah, humor. You definitely need to have that humor and to be able to joke about it, to, like, stop seeing it as trauma.
Is it weird seeing yourself like
It's very
it's
weird.
like it's a memory that doesn't exist for you, but it's you.
Yeah, I don't remember any of this.
Okay. Because you're about to see one of the first memories that you've told me about, which is talking about the medical bag. and
Yeah.
what to get out of it. That's coming up soon. So that's probably, let's see, it's been over 2 minutes since it happened.
Oh,
So
wow.
that much of your memories, at least right
Dang.
now, doesn't exist.
In my shirt.
How else do you cope with life with that situation? You laugh. Pretty much. It is something that I often mention as a side note. You know, like when people feel bad about themselves, but they make jokes at their expense. Sometimes that helps, sometimes that's detrimental. But like in situations where you've been in a trauma, you need to be able to like cope with it by joking about it, which is like completely different. If you can't kind of make a joke at it, it's kind of keeping a hold on you. Now, like seeing the footage, his brain is gonna try and fill in the gaps as well. It's very weird to see yourself in a scenario where you were passed out or you have no recollection, right? Same with fuzziness from getting drunk or sleepwalking for some people. Self-deprecating humor too much becomes pity.
Truck.
First aid is in this truck, he said. We have
Okay.
first aid.
Is that where your memory comes back? No?
Inside
the
the
trauma's gonna be on his right side, right here. Where my
inside
hands
the
are. That's
big
where the
bucket.
blast was.
there's a wall.
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Yep.
So your memory took 3.5
Yes,
minutes
Astro.
to come back.
Good grief. Oh, you can't see it. I'm digging. Okay. Because I remember digging in the bag.
Just off
it's just
camera?
off camera. Okay.
Yeah. This has to be surreal for you because you never saw at least your face from an outside perspective
No.
until you were like in the hospital.
In the trauma bay, yeah.
But for a while there, that laceration in your face was bleeding so much it was down on your neck. And I think that was confusing some people. They thought your neck was bleeding. So they were applying pressure there first until it was more obvious it was coming from your cheek.
Gotcha.
I don't have any medical allergies.
Okay. Any heart things they need to know about?
Nope, no
Okay.
heart conditions, no medical allergies. I'm probably dehydrated.
Okay.
Can we get?
That is something probably that they should have on record beforehand. Like speaking from what they could do better is knowing everything like that beforehand.
They're probably going to give you saline immediately.
They can saline IV when they get here.
Is my right arm burned?
My right arm hurt.
It's like, oh man. Oh, can you imagine just being like sitting there with a bleed, being asked questions, and you're like, So how charred is it from a scale of 1 to barbecue?
Okay, is there more of that? The big ones? So this is when we start smearing all the stuff all over you, applying these pads.
About this time was, I think my brain kind of went, okay, like someone else is doing.
Like the burns are bad, but they're also like rather contained, I feel like. If you can look, it's only like to the half to the front brunt of it. It didn't extend too much. And it also doesn't look like it was isolated to his right.
Doing the things that I was wanting to get done, and then
It seems worse on the right, basically.
Kind of drifted off.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But you said I stayed up and talked, and
yeah. So about this is when I thought I should probably
Damn, they heard us talking about it. Run. I don't know if you guys can actually hear the sirens.
turn off the cameras because it didn't feel like the right thing to do. And then later I went and turned the camera back on because I'm like, this should probably be documented.
okay.
But was it on high speed?
I don't even know or care.
Or care.
There is a
Oh
little
my
bit
God.
more of later on. This is you being treated.
Oh, okay. So we got like actual. Looks
Yeah.
like law enforcement showed up first, and then.
Do you remember this? Sitting there and talking to officers?
Nope. After the like kind of first aid stuff, I don't remember anything until the helicopter.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, like you can see on the other hand that it is a lot more severe on this side. That's why like I noticed it the first time that this side isn't as burnt. It's a lot more on this part. It took the brunt of it. But even then it is rather contained. Like the external damage is rather contained to the area.
They kind of just look you over until the helicopter gets there, make sure you're covered up, and this shot isn't as slow as we normally do. For this, we had the flex camera, 3,000 frames a second to see everything, and then the 2512 is like close in on like this area.
Okay.
So this isn't going to give us like hyper detail, but it's still, we're going to see something.
Yeah, there it goes. Holy shit.
Yep.
Like looking at his own reaction to it, right? Look at that.
Shit.
Yep. It's like a war movie shot. Like it's one of those things you can't fake, basically. It's
Michael Bay eats your heart out. Yeah, look, there's the plate.
Yeah, let me wind that back.
Holy shit. So
Damn.
it started normal.
Yeah.
I mean, rocket's moving. We can see some propulsion coming. So it didn't instantaneously malfunction. Oh my god.
Damn,
This is the
Jesus
first
Christ.
glimpse
Like
of it going off.
Yeah, look, it's like bulging.
holy
And look at all that
shit.
fight, like,
Now it
I
makes sense why he was burned more on one hand. Like seeing this angle and perspective, like wow.
I have a beard now, but they shaved that off.
Yeah. No,
I lost almost no
you
hair.
had basically your full facial hair intact, and I was very surprised because,
How
like,
in
look,
the hell?
like you're in
God,
flames for a
dude.
while. If you saw this footage
Damn.
and didn't have any context, would you not have thought like that would kill a person?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, it's no wonder all the doctors told me they thought I should be dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's worth saying, like, your helmet got blown off of you, your eye protection got blown off of you, your plate carrier vest unfolded, your plate flew out, your bracelet got thrown off.
Never did find that. So the helmet, you can see I don't have it strapped. I didn't like buckle my chin strap, but that one has a headband retention. It tightens like a hard hat.
Okay.
So I mean, it was tensioned to my head. It wasn't just like plopped on there with nothing holding it on. It was tensioned. Oh man, that launcher went high.
Yeah. And it's like actively flaming out of the failure point.
Jesus Christ.
just
That is
absolutely
absolutely
ragdoll.
insane.
You can tell you were unconscious because you're not grimacing. Like,
Yeah,
you're just
no,
you're
that's-
just falling.
I wonder if the fact that he didn't have the chin strap actually helped him there.
So about 2 to 3 milliseconds, you were engulfed in like raw explosive flames, which isn't a long time. in terms of footage.
Because that is
But that's all it
propelled
takes.
really
But if
high.
you think of the injury list that I listed, TBI, a traumatic brain injury, a temporal skull fracture causing a brain bleed, cheekbone was broken in 2
Jesus.
places, my jaw may have been like dislocated or misaligned, a laceration to my cheek, anywhere from 10 to 15% of my upper extremities were 3rd-degree burns requiring skin grafts, small fragmentations throughout.
It all happened in 2
2
to 3
milliseconds.
milliseconds. Yep. I mean, you can even see the
That is a long list of things that happened. Like, holy shit.
first frame that you start to get hit, like it contacting your shoulder and wrapping around your hand. Like this right here is the last millisecond of you unharmed.
Right.
And then the next millisecond, you're already being harmed right there.
That's nuts.
Like even here, your body doesn't know it's happened yet.
Nope.
Nobody knows it's happened yet, even if they were watching it with their eyes. So the big question is, what caused this? And I think the main things that we can rule out that people wondered about was, A, did the ballistic head prevent it from venting quickly enough to cause it? So if we go back to the first high-speed angle here, by the time the blast is hitting the dummy in the head, it's already exploding.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just now touching the dummy, and the entire rest of the launcher is
and
already
it's already
exploding.
gone.
So we can at least rule that out. The other thing is,
Some people had talked about the smoke around the trigger
should probably
pack.
cover that. Yeah. In order to reactivate it, you have to basically drill or mill out that previously welded in rod, put your own firing pin in, and kind of weld that in place.
Yep.
So
New trigger pack.
there's always a chance that it's not perfectly sealed and you'll get a little bit of smoke venting out. So in no way does that contribute to the failure. There are sometimes places that smoke will vent out.
The rocket's moving, so that wasn't like...
Interesting. I didn't know that that's something that happens with these. That's kind of interesting to know that basically they're not gonna always be properly welded. It's also very weird over the fact that they're not properly welded. Take care, little just me.
jammed in there.
Right, no, it wasn't jammed at all. Kind of proper procedure for these launchers is that you should clean them pretty often. So RPGs that'll fail out in the field are ones that have been fired so many times they get gunked up on the inside. There's metal fatigue that happens over time.
Okay.
So that's a normal thing that can happen, but it wasn't the case here. I think we cleaned it with both like actual solvent cleaners and the cleaning rod every 3 shots. So it's worth mentioning a little bit more specifically about how RPG launchers are reactivated by different companies. In our case, they went in and did the re-weld, then they also pressure test it and x-ray the welds to, check that they are good, high quality welds. And then the inside of the tube is then re-sleeved with basically another metal tube inside of it. So basically this launcher is about as good as it gets when it comes to reactivated launchers. However, a weld is still a weld, and that means that around the weld is a little bit more brittle than an actual completely new tube. So there's a very small inherent risk in working with welds. So even after pressure testing it, x-raying the welds, re-sleeving it, there are still things that can go wrong. It might be worth talking about the booster itself a little bit more. So basically, all boosters, depending on the length, the size, they're always separated by sequential charges. I think it's usually separated by wood or cardboard. The firing pin comes in through here and it initiates the first part of the blast. So it's by sequentially, sort of like a firework, sequentially moving through these different stages of the booster, that's what allows it to launch.
Okay.
And so
build pressure in this chamber while it goes down the...
Yeah, so it's moving itself while it's moving through fuel, essentially. So in our case, a normal black powder booster might have 6 sequential charges in it that allows it to launch. There are longer ones that might have 8 charges or 12 charges. Basically, however much mass you need to move or how far you want the rocket to go could dictate how long of a booster you need. In our case, our warheads were CNC machined real metal warheads instead of the thinner stamped or even printed rocket heads. So for the lighter ones, you might only need a short booster. In our case, we had a longer booster. So after examining all of the high-speed footage, after looking over the inside of the launcher, what basically happened here was the beginning part of the booster failed, which cascaded into the rest of the booster. A properly reactivated, high-quality launcher should still be able to handle that. However, there is now the chance that if part of the booster detaches from the rocket as it is moving out of the front of the launcher,
Oh,
it can
damn.
then butt up against and even seal the venturi part of the tube. And what that means is there is no longer anywhere for a lot of that pressure to go. It all builds up at once, caused an immense amount of pressure, and the first place for that pressure to
The
vent
weld.
was the weld points.
Yeah.
And that caused it to vent downward and into Adam's arm, his chest, basically all over his upper body.
So basically, this would be rather similar to what happened to Kentucky Ballistics, with like having gunpowder failure in a way as well. That's like absolutely insane to see it happen twice.
The weld acted as a release point by it failing. If it had not failed, this could have become like other videos on the internet where the launcher completely grenades. If you look closely
Jesus.
at the failure, it's not the weld itself, which is usually almost a perfect rectangle that's cut into it. It is around the weld where the metal inherently becomes slightly more brittle. And they try to make up for this by re-sleeving it, but when you're dealing with this much pressure in such a short amount of time, and it can no longer vent through the venturi as it's supposed to, that's a lot of pressure.
And I had quite a bit of downtime in the hospital. I Googled around, and if you go to enough websites, I saw some other RPG failures that looked a lot like that. And then as you can see, somebody, not me, found as many pieces of
You weren't crawling around finding this?
found as much of the furniture as they could.
Some of this got splintered into oblivion, but I mean,
They're,
it's about how that stuff works. So it's one of those things where high-speed footage gives us a decent glimpse at what happened, but
It's still insane. Like, holy shit. RPG failing like that. It's spooky and scary.
only going to be educated guesses.
It makes you wonder if there's a better way for them to have solved this. Perhaps the weld needs to be in a different location? Is that even a thing? Is that even possible to put it on a different location? So at least it stops having that much backlash.
And
Yeah,
this is based on all of the footage we've looked at, different people we've talked to. This is our best educated guess, and I feel like that's probably what happened.
I think so.
Do you want to look at your...
Yeah, that was one of the things that I mentioned as like for the munition quality check when it comes to certain things. But it's like usually people were saying that, hey, Paws, you have like the qualified vendors, right, to sell you stuff. But when you're testing things that are experimental, do you just take on that risk and go like, yeah, there's a small chance of it exploding in my face?
your equipment you were wearing?
Oh, absolutely. I already see a lot going on here.
Yeah. So this is basically everything that helped protect your life.
Yep.
And just because of how production works,
Triggering it from a distance, honestly, like possibly could be a thing. Oh. It's crazy. It's crazy to see the footage. It's crazy to see like the entire after effect, right, of the incident and going through it step by step, thinking like what could be done, what happened, what are potential causes, how we could improve.
sometimes we already filmed multiple episodes with high explosive rockets beforehand.
Yep.
So it just happened to be that production worked out that way. And you'll see a lot of our safety in those other videos. We didn't even shoot the things off our shoulders. We had them mounted to something with a pull string.
Yeah, neither of us actually fired a higher explosive rocket.
Not once. So we were about as safe as possible as you can be while still getting to at least fire a rocket once or twice. And the accident still happened. So I'm hoping this is a good reminder to anybody that works with firearms, explosives, any of this stuff, that no matter how safe you try to be consciously, there's always a risk of something going wrong. And it's not even something you may have overlooked.
Yeah, they went over like the things that I mentioned as well, right? Firing it from a distance and stuff. Oh,
It's just like when you buy ammunition.
safety
There might
first.
be a bullet that is loaded a bit too much, or a firework that had a little bit too much powder in it, or whatever it might be.
in the
Dude, like that's why a lot of fireworks here are now illegal and you cannot purchase. It is very hard to buy fireworks here because there were too many incidents of people exploding fireworks in their hands and losing a finger or hand and stuff like that to explosions from fireworks. Like, you know, people with fingers and eyes. Yeah, I know people with fingers. Just from fireworks, right? It's not even a rocket.
episode that we released, we talked about using prototype rounds. None of the RPG-7s were prototype rounds. We were just
If we're talking about civilian use, firing from a distance is possible. Yeah. Of course, Julian. Like, no, not talking in an actual war zone because it is very unlikely that you're going to have the time to like, you know, properly bunker up, go to a distance and stuff like that. It's just in situations like this, right, where you're testing, showcasing, you're super safe, you have a controlled environment, there's no risk.
discussing the Carl Gustav rounds.
Yes.
And even then, I probably shouldn't have used the term prototype.
Yeah.
They had been tested numerous times already. So those weren't things that we were just bringing out and firing for the...
The only thing they did not have yet was the way the casing vents out the back to make it recoilless. Everything else was proper.
I think there's like a different fuse because there was a little bit of a delay between the two. But so none of the RPG stuff was prototype. That was all very standard.
Especially the boosters. Boosters are like the same boosters you'd use for any test.
Right, yeah.
Todd, who's been in this industry for a long time, he gave us like the best chance at success at this. It was his launcher. Nothing about his launcher caused this failure, which I think is important to point out. It's just like a gun. Like, you give it the wrong ammo, it's not the gun's fault.
Right.
We gave it a booster that ended up failing, and
Yep, and I still talk to Todd daily.
Yep.
We're still friends. He has decided to leave the industry. He did a lot of machine gun rentals and then launcher stuff. Being there, it affects people different ways in seeing things like that. I mean, you've kind of talked to me about, it's like, it can be difficult.
Yeah, it puts pressure as well.
So he discussed it with his
fear.
family, and between himself and his family, they decided to get out of the business.
that isn't guilt. We need to point that out.
Right, yes. Nope, it was just a decision that they made.
No,
you
it's
will
fear
notice,
for like
he closed
future and
down
wanting to
all
be
of
there
his
for your
social
loved
medias
ones.
and his website and everything. We had a few people point that out to us. We're aware.
Yep.
He told us he was doing it.
That is his way of handling what is essentially a bit of mental trauma from this.
Right.
That is his way of handling it. That's a totally personal thing, and we're going to let him do that. That's what he needs to do. We all handle it differently, and that was his method. Yeah, Todd's still a good friend of ours.
Absolutely.
So please don't think that him doing that stuff was in any way guilt on his part, because I mean, it'd be like if I didn't post this video just because that was my way of handling it. That's not guilt. That's just, it's different when you see videos on the internet of accidents and stuff. When it's your friend right in front of you, it's different. So
Yeah, it is different. It is sad that they have to explain it. I completely understand why they have to explain it for people, because people online especially, they like to judge anything and everything and meddle and butt in and think they know better and make their own opinion. They've known you for 2 seconds and they already have an opinion of you. Impossible, something like survival's guilt, if anything. It's just a thing. It's just a matter of seeing it happen in front of you, Rocket, right? It's not necessarily survival's guilt, but when you have a family, you have to think of more than just yourself. Maybe that's my way of being taught growing up, right? But like once you have a kid, your life isn't yours. It's your life is for your kid. All you do, all the things that you do, you take into account the fact that someone depends on you. So it's completely understandable to like want to step back from something once you saw the actual danger in front of, because when that danger doesn't happen to you, right, it's easy for you to go ahead about your business because you don't have that at the back of your mind. You don't have that doubt, that questioning whether this is going to be the last time you see your loved ones. You don't think that when you leave the house and go to work, right? It's not a normal. But once you're in that mindset, it's very hard to escape from that mindset. It's very hard to detach yourself from feeling like that. And you have to kind of like find a way to change your perspective or change your career. And in his case, he changed his career. He decided it's enough. I'm going to quit. And that doesn't have to do with like just feeling guilty. It's just you need a way to move forward for yourself.
So just have some respect and just give people space when they need it, I would say.
Yeah.
That's a
So
high
as you
bloom.
guys can see,
we're back at the range. We have a few high explosive rocket episodes still coming out. Thankfully, we're filmed before the accident.
Yep.
So we still have some content to come, but we are ready to move forward. And as a way that you guys could support us moving forward, a way to support his healing and medical bills, things like that, we have a new line of merchandise that just came out. And if you guys want to buy that, that is a great way to directly support him and get something back in return to show your support for the channel.
Absolutely. Yep, it's over on Bunker Branding. We got picked up and get to work with those guys. Great group of people over there.
Yeah.
Once you head over there, or maybe you're going to flash it on the screen, you'll see that you can get our plastic stuff. And then also, in good fashion, I made a meme shirt. And before anybody freaks out,
As they do in the gun industry.
It was my idea. This isn't, like anybody taking advantage of the situation. I came up with it.
It's not anyone taking advantage. I'm taking advantage of my own situation, goddammit. Oh, man. Nice.
Bryce made it a reality, but it was my idea because this isn't going to stop me. I'm back. We're going to go full tilt. I mean, I've still got, a little bit of a limp and things, but
Yeah, we'll take things slow.
We're not done. We believe in this channel. We think it's doing extremely well. All thanks to everybody that hits that subscribe button and sticks around.
There's been an immeasurable amount of positive support lately
Yeah.
for you.
Never
We
let
pretty
the
well
tragedy
believe that
go
we have
to
found our
waste.
core audience of
True
people that
chat.
enjoy our content and believe in us. We believe in us too, so that means a lot to us. So we're gonna keep moving forward, and Patreon is a great way to support.
Honestly, it's really good, and I'm happy for him. Like, it's my second video knowing him as a creator, but like, it's really good to be able to deal with it in a way that still lets you do the thing that you love, your hobby, your job, and kind of like find a way to cope with it, right, and move forward. It's good to be able to not be stuck and to slowly heal and move forward. Some people can't. Like, it takes a very long time to recover, and it's really nice for him to be able to move forward. I'm happy for him for that.
That's going to start getting some exclusive content over there. This entire episode is going to go into more detail, basically an extended cut of going into more detail on your armor and stuff, what that went through, a little bit more detail about your injuries, even an exclusive angle of the high speed. In that cut. So there's another shot, 100,000 frames a second, that hasn't been shown in this one. We just wanted to make sure this video could get up, explain to you all exactly what happened, at least to the best of our knowledge, and then just move forward. The next couple months are going to have some pretty wild episodes, so if you guys would not mind subscribing now, you're going to get some excellent content coming well into 2024.
It may be dark humor and seem crude. I don't know, man. If anything, I like dark humor. Dark humor is like, it's there, it's tangible, it's savage, but it's funny. Dark humor. Yeah, you gotta keep on keeping on, indeed. It's life, right? That's just how it is. Life isn't always pretty. It's not always rainbows and ponies and pink. For some, life is just gray, colors of gray. So having that humor to back it up is important. This video, same as like the Kentucky accident one with the 50 cal exploding, right? They both show you that this is some people's way of coping, and being able to joke about it, being able to make a meme out of it, being able to put it behind you by not treating it as this thing that you need to walk on eggshells. It helps you move on. Like, the worst thing, and for me, right, this is not for everyone, the worst thing for me when I suffer something, a setback, a delay, something bad, an injury, right? The worst thing someone can do is just walk on eggshells around me. I hate that. I've always been a blunt person, then again, right? It's in my thing. It's just like, just go out with it, right? Face it head on. So I can relate to that. I can relate to this type of humor because it's just, yeah, I am the same. I didn't go for something traumatic, thankfully. Like, I haven't had something like that happen to me. I hope I never do. But I can relate to it. I can understand it.
We try to keep things kind of clean and professional on this main channel. If you want to see us a little bit more uncensored, go check out the Unsubscribed podcast. We had some beers with the boys and we kind of let some jokes fly.
They're awesome people. So yeah, so
see.
thank you guys for watching.
Some people
Head
have
over to
said I should
Unsubscribe.
watch that.
Consider supporting us on Patreon for extra content, and consider supporting us with merchandise. I think that new shirt's going to be really cool.
I think the shirt's cool. I really like the sticker too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the shirt is cool too. Also a very interesting watch. Thanks for recommending it as well. And to those of you on YouTube, if you managed to, stick around for so long, let me know what other video you want me to watch. Until next time. Bye-bye.